Greetings. It's another episode of the Geek Out, episode 3. Got a lot of stuff to talk about, and we're going to go through it. I'm going to say fast, but we're definitely going to go through it. First thing, I want to go back to my last episode just for a second, because I know it may have come off in one direction about the new Superman idea, the possibilities of Michael B. Jordan becoming Superman. I'm not against it. What I'm against is them just trying to shove Michael B. Jordan as Superman into where we're currently at. You honestly have to go into this with a total reset. You might as well just can everything after Aquaman and start over from scratch with Superman. Because if you base it off of the comics, there is, Val Zod and their whole story with that. But then you would have to have all the characters looking for him, and you have to build this up as a different Superman. So in a way, you would have to do another origin of Superman. And I really don't want to see another origin movie of Superman. I like origin movies, but with the Superman thing, we've been doing rehashes and remakes and retellings and how many other words of we can add in there for a while now. I'd say it's been a good 15 years of remakes of Superman. I think we need to go through, have our Superman, and keep it solid. So I just want to at least correct that before I get too far into this week's episode, because I'm not against it. I just say you would have to restart to even do it. So, what else is going on in geek news? I'm saving the best for last because this is just, I have some comments about it. But let's start off real simple. The new Fantastic Beasts trailer came out, and I'm really interested. I like the feel of it. I like that we've improved upon things, and it seems like it's going to be a very action-packed. So we got Fantastic Beasts coming out on November 16th. But getting closer to what's going on as far as this upcoming month of October, we got two major things that are definitely going to be in our face. One is Venom. And of course, next week, I'm going to be seeing Venom. Next week. And I will be talking about it on the next episode of the Geek Out. I'm looking forward to Venom. It's not just the whole thing of I like villains and good villains have a story, which is a true fact because you can't have a good villain. You can't have a good hero without having a good villain. And I think that's where a lot of these comic book movies have made errors, is not establishing their villains properly. But now we get a Venom movie, sans Spider-Man as far as what we know so far, because I haven't read anything that there's going to be a Spider-Man cameo, but I would like to see maybe even an after credits of Eddie Brock looking up in the skyline and happen to see Spider-Man, or him saying, hey, I got to go to New York, or something where in which it connects it to the Spider-Verse, because no matter what is said and how they're going to try to change directions with it, it is a Marvel property, and Venom is a part of the Spider-Verse. And of course, at the end of this year, we're going to be jumping deep into the Spider-Verse with the animated Spider-Man movie, which another one I'm actually looking forward to. So why am I bringing it up? Because I want to know what people think, and especially after next week, whenever the movie comes out next weekend. If you go see it, shoot me a message and let me know what you think of Venom. Was it really worth being made? Is it something that people really want to see? Is it just kind of floating off of the popularity of, there's been a lot of Spider-Man movies, and now we get a Venom movie? I think they're taking a good risk and a good chance on going forward with it. I'm looking forward to it. So that's upcoming weekend. And following also in October, we're going back to the Whovians, Doctor Who, on the 7th of October. And it's a woman. And even her character is questioning the fact that she's a woman. Not a redhead, but a woman. So we have that to look forward to. How many people out there are honestly looking forward to seeing how they're going to repair where we last left off? And what I say by repair is you're going to go through and you're going to change up Doctor Who. First female Doctor Who. Long time coming. But you're going to have the first female Doctor not have a TARDIS? I'm kind of in shock that here we're going to go through and take that chance, and we're not going to go through and give her all of the normal protocol that Doctor Who would have. So I want to see where they're going with it. I'm more or less interested in watching it just to see, are we going to get her a TARDIS? Is Is she going to still have a sonic screwdriver? I mean, if you're going to take away the TARDIS, you might as well, take away everything. And how is she going to interact with her companions? I'm liking the little teasers and the trailers that they're putting out. I'm looking forward to seeing the direction they're going to go with, especially after the last Doctor. It's a huge change. So, a huge change that she's even mentioned in one of the trailers, that she was a crotchety old Irishman and now she's a woman. So, or Scotsman, I think it was. Either way, it was the concept of we're jumping back into Doctor Who. I'm looking forward to it. So that means, yes, I'm as of October, we'll be talking about some Doctor Who on the Geek Out. It's something I'm looking forward to. Next up, Transformers, the Bumblebee movie. Now, this one, I was really hesitant on Bumblebee. I felt like we've gone through and have talked about as much Transformer stuff as we possibly can. I saw the last night. It wasn't as bad as I expected, but there's only so far you can continue on with that story. Now we have Bumblebee coming up, which is now jumping backwards in time. So we're now going to get the more classic look to the Transformers. And I wasn't really originally sold on the first trailer that came out. I was like, oh boy, at least we have a different director, but we're going right back into the Transformers universe. Then I started seeing the new trailer. I got interested. Soundwave looks like Soundwave. Starscream looks like Starscream. And there's even a moment where you see a recording of Optimus Prime, and it looks like Optimus Prime, like old school Optimus Prime. I'm kind of liking it. It's starting to pull my interest in. I might have to go see it. It's I really kind of fight on the Transformers movies because it was just kind of a rehash of the same thing, and it was more of just, hey, we got big robots fighting around. Yay. I like my big robots. I even have, I'm a huge Voltron fan. Lions, not cars. But I want to not just have an overload of machines beating up on machines. Give me a decent story. Make me go, oh, wow, that's really cool. As far as the visuals, at least. But now you're bringing up older Transformers in their more classic, or as we would put in the Transformers fandom, Gen 1 stylings. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. I could actually enjoy seeing everything leading up to where we are at the first Transformers movie. But then you have to play a little bit of a game of how you're going to fit it in with canon, but I'm willing to let it go if we're going to deal with Gen 1, Gen 2 Transformer stories. And no matter what, it's still going to be better than doing a G.I. Joe adaptation, especially now. Retaliation was a very interesting movie. That's all I will say. I like how they went with it. So I'm interested in seeing how that's going to go as far as the Transformers. Next up, I already touched on Venom, but we're going to dive into a Marvel movie. Now, hot on the tail of Captain Marvel trailer, which I thought was an amazing teaser trailer, because you didn't make any heads or tails from what images that we actually saw from the Captain Marvel trailer. But if you haven't seen it, it looks good. We're going to see a more classical version, as much as you can say classic version of Captain Marvel, but you're going to get that character, I think, done in a very positive light, and that's going to kind of push us into the next phase of the Marvel movies. But in that same arena, as far as Marvel, we just had the Dark Phoenix trailer come out, and yes, this is something that we've visited upon in X-Men Last Stand. But we tried to cram a very large Phoenix story, especially the Dark Phoenix story, into one movie, with continuing on with the plot lines of the other two X-Men movies. I like the new X-Men series. To me, it's basically like getting, an astonishing X-Men or an uncanny X-Men. And that's why I think this first class edition of X-Men is really working forward. And I like the stories, even when they mixed it up with Days of Futures Past. I liked what they were doing. We finally get the Dark Phoenix trailer. Now, I started reading comic books around the time of the Dark Phoenix saga, the original Dark Phoenix saga. So that kind of ages me a little bit. This wasn't a comic that was only involving the X-Men. It was a global thing after a certain point. And now we're going to kind of focus it back down into strictly the core X-Men characters that are currently existing. So, sans Wolverine. I am very excited about the trailer. The trailer had me going. I watched it 3 or 4 times, just going, are they really going to do a proper Dark Phoenix story? A little bit of research goes into it. We're not just doing a Dark Phoenix story. From what I found online, we're doing the Dark Phoenix saga. So we're going to get more than one movie out of this. So there's a good chance we're going to go from Jean Grey, Madeline Pryor, Return of Jean Grey. We're going to have an entire story. They put this out, they got my hype going. But where did my nerd tears come from? Beginning of the week, we get our trailer. There was the big wait for it. Like, hey, we're going to be putting out the trailer tomorrow. Woke up, saw the trailer, and we got a date. And then midweek, we got that date changed. And to me, that was a bad move. Nothing that I'm not gonna go see it. I understand reshoots, some changes, whatever the case. But after building up a little bit of hype, and it wasn't like with some of the other movies that have come out where you get a teaser trailer. Captain Marvel was 100% teaser trailer. You didn't really get the story. You got a couple of good flashes of things of her doing, and some costuming, a little bit of action scenes. But it wasn't a true trailer. The Dark Phoenix trailer didn't seem like a teaser. It felt like a real trailer. You kind of got an idea of what's going to be happening. And then at the end of the week, we get a date change. They push this back to next year in June. June 7th, we're actually going to be getting the Dark Phoenix movie. Now, in its place, which this isn't a Marvel like jump over, this is a totally different direction, but it has to deal with it. Battle Angel Altia got moved also. That was supposed to be another one of the ending of the year movies, and that got pushed into the Dark Phoenix slot in February. So everything just got pushed far back. Now, I understand Marvel has to have their people doing their double checks and looking at everything, but I would not have released that trailer at the beginning of the week just to have the date of it change, because I was honestly going, as soon as I saw the date of it, I was like, I am going to be there. I want to see this film. And now we wait. It happens. It's part of the big Hollywood machine, and that's what goes on. But for once, I looked at the Dark Phoenix movie, and I'm looking at it going, I think people are going to die. And I'm not saying I want to see people die. No, I want to see some of these characters get taken out by her, and I want to see how they're going to pull it off. We already see in the trailer. If you haven't seen the trailer, definitely go check it out. But they're at a funeral. Somebody's biting the dust. It could be Jean Grey, because eventually we're going to have her come back. And we have some mystery characters there. I'm looking into it, and I'm going to see is they're going to be a Mr. Sinister, one of the more iconic, we'll call him a villain, in the X-Men comics. I eventually want to see him come out. They may actually make this new female character that's coming up in there, even though she's supposed to be Shatari, but the whole thing is she may become the representation of Mr. Sinister. And for those who don't know Mr. Sinister, the guy is a geneticist, is what the baseline of it is. But imagine if he was evil. So he's going through taking mutant DNA and just trying to clone it and make new ones and make better ones. And he's the one who ends up making Madeline Pryor. So I'm hoping that we get a Madeline Pryor in the new saga. So that is where we're sitting at as far as right now is the Marvel movies that are coming out as far as right now. Because next year we also, unless it gets pushed back another year, we're gonna have a New Mutants, the New Mutants horror flick, because it is gonna be a New Mutants movie. It's gonna be showcasing the characters, but they're going a definitely darker route. The same way they're kind of going a little bit darker with the Dark Phoenix saga, which is kind of a given. So New Mutants is another one that I'm looking forward to in the near future. So now we're getting on to another little part of this that I like to call "What am I reading right now?" And this took me a while to get into. Right now, this week's "What am I reading" is comic based. I was talking with another fellow comic book fan, and I had my issues when the New 52 from DC started up, where they restarted entire new lines and gave us brand new stories, combining a whole lot of stuff that happened with the lead up in Flashpoint. So in DC, now we have a rebirth, which instead of it being a storyline where, hey, we're going to restart all this stuff all over from number ones and we're going to ignore everything else that happened in the past, these comics have actually accept those things that happened in the past, give a 10-year gap of that time period, and all the characters, all our DC heroes, don't remember exactly what happened during that 10-year period. And now they're trying to figure out why they had this amnesia. So what got me started in all this was researching different ones, and I started reading Titans, not Teen Titans, but actual Titans. And that story, the first couple of comics, uh, emotional. The starts off with Titan Hunt, and then we get into, of course, the rebirth issue 1 of Titans, and it was it was really cool to see them connect so many different things from the New 52 era into this. So I like the transition that they made. It definitely has me going. I'm going to probably be picking up more of the Titans because they got the whole gang back together for the Titans as young adults and no longer teens. And they're really making you remember the reasons why you cared about the characters. So for anybody who's currently out there and you're looking for a new comic to read right now, and it's Rebirth's been going on for a while. I just decided I wasn't going to get into it because I was having my own little nerd tears moment of I'm not going to start all over again, and I got pushed into starting all over again. So yeah, I'm back into it, back into DC. The Marvel stuff really didn't stop, but DC kind of pushed me away for a little while. But now I'm going through and checking out all the Rebirth, picking up some trades, and I'm getting back into DC. My pause is over with, so I am now back. I'm reading more than just Valiant Comics and Marvel. So that's where we're sitting at for this week. It's a short one. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. Next week, of course, we're going to get into Venom. I haven't forgotten about Iron Fist. I've only watched one episode, but actually, the reason why I've kind of slowed down and I didn't get into it this week is I rewatched all of stop. I'm not binging anymore, but I'm gonna go through and binge watch all of season 1 Iron Fist so I can give a proper review of what happened in season 1 before I jump into season 2. So we're gonna get to it. It's gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen as quickly as I thought because I'm halfway through rewatching Iron Fist season 1. I'm starting to notice a couple of things different than the first time I watched it, especially after going through and watching The Defenders and Luke Cage. There's a huge gap of information that now makes a little bit more sense, but we're going to see, and we're definitely going to get into it. So other than that, if there's any other things that you want to talk about, we have our mailbag at therealpundits.com. Send us an email. And if you want to make sure it's directed towards the Geek Out, just put Geek Out in the topic, and we'll go from there. On the other note, we have me. If you want to track me down on Twitter, I'm at ANA Real Pundit. And of course, my email, you can find me at anathanallen at therealpundits.com. And shoot us a message. If there's anything that you actually want to go through and read, or you've been reading and you want me to read and you want to talk about it, shoot me a message and we can go from there. But we're always around, and we're definitely going to talk about something geeky and get amped about things that are not normally done on the Real Pundits show. There we're talking about film and breaking it down. Here it's just about a little bit more fun. So track me down if you have a comment, questions, or if you just want to totally disagree with me over any of the topics that I talked about today, hit me up. Other than that, check us out on The Real Pundits coming out on this Thursday, and we're going to do this all over again at the end of the week. And next week, it's Venom. And I am out. It's been fun. We'll do this again soon. Bye.